G'day viewers, Maddo here. How are things tonight? Thanks for joining me on another live with Maddo AVA Chat. So, hope all things are going well for you. Great to see you all here. So, with that, let's get a bit started. I've got a few things I'll talk about tonight. Food, travel, a couple of different places I've been to. Stories. I think everybody's got quite a few stories that they have had over the years. I was talking last week, and one guy said he was a little bit tired of Thailand. I think it was mostly because the scams that were going on there, and you sort of do get run down a little bit by them. So with that, there's so many different stories you can tell about it, and endless, but pretty much they're all the same. Back when I started traveling to Cambodia, that was probably when people, I think, really did have enough of it, and they started exploring a few other places. But with that, I did the same. I just wanted to keep exploring. I got sick and tired of the real touristy areas, so hence I did go and travel a lot of other places. So with that, you get to learn a lot more. So that's one of the reasons why I ended up in Cambodia. But with that, I was actually looking through Google on the very first hotel I stayed at, and I couldn't for the life of me remember where it was. It's not actually standing anymore, but on Google Maps, it's still there. I got it written down. And it's called the PC Hotel. I think probably we got, I don't know if you're out there, Mr. Thailand. I'm pretty sure you're there, but you might remember the Walkabout Hotel. If you go on Google Maps, it's actually still there on the maps itself. The hotel quite right opposite that is where I stayed for the very first time, the PC Hotel. It's now been demolished, but the maps go back to 2013. So that's on Street 51. And then I looked up, I wonder if the other hotel I stayed at, there's a very second one around the corner, basically. Flamingos. Yep, it's still there. I know it's actually still there. It's been remodeled. But back then, 2013, it still looks the same then. So back in the good old days, even the old nightclub, I think even Mr. Thailand might remember that. Pontoon, or as I used to call it, Puntang. But anyway, yeah, so that's actually still there. I did enjoy that particular area. Everybody who knows the Walkabout Hotel, go back in the day, even long before I got there. I did enjoy it as one of those very back in the day, you want to get lost bar at night time, seedy, whatever. But it was just down to earth. You go in there, have a few drinks, and it was really good. I didn't mind it. I sort of kept my distance from a lot of it, being a newbie there, so I was still exploring, going in with a bit of open eyes and looking and seeing what it was all about. I think I did go in there a couple of times, sort of just sussing out the area. Knowing what I know now, yeah, there's a lot of stories that went on about the Walkabout Hotel. Some good, very few good, but most of them didn't end well. But it was a cheap hotel, and if you wanted to disappear in Cambodia, that's basically where it is. So if I'm coming through pretty good, give us a thumbs up, say yay, send a message, because I'm actually watching and hear it as well. So make sure I've got the audio and everything's all working properly, because I'm not using my webcam. I'm actually using one of my cameras as a webcam. So hopefully the picture quality comes out pretty good. So if you let us know, it'd be great, because I can see quite clear on my camera right in front of me and my PC down there. And I'm also got it up on YouTube to see how that all performs. So with that, we'll keep going along. Talking about food, did get to talk with another tuber in Cambodia, and we got to a little bit on the sides bit of what we eat and some of the bugs that you can have there. Well, pretty much I don't really eat bugs, but I do have a little thing for watching people trying to eat them. Silkworms and the crickets, yeah, I could eat the silkworms, stomach the crickets, but everything else, no. Even the non-fertilized eggs that they have, I still can't get my head around that one. But with that, you get to see a lot of people who just hoe into them. One of the better places I've taken or gone to and eaten food, one of my favourite restaurants. I think there's a couple of friends of mine that have actually been with me, do know which one I'm talking about. That's up at the corner 154 Street and corner 51 Street, or Street 51. Tin Hat Restaurant. I did try to introduce one of my friends into the culinary delight of Kermie. He just flat out and said no. I don't know if you're watching there, Mr. Larry, but anyway, yeah. So with that, I've always eaten there. I love it there. The restaurant has always been good. Pardon me. And I've always had good service there, so I don't see any reason why not to change. I know the original owner did sell out, but the new owner kept all the staff that were there, and it was really, really good. They still kept it. They sort of updated a little bit, and with that, they kept the good service that went with there, because obviously their staff there were good. So I always go there, and every now and again I will eat Kermie. I think a couple of people will actually know what Kermie is. So on that, you see a lot of bugs being sold everywhere, walking up and down in little carts. They get their little cans and scoop them up. You buy it by the can, and they put them in a little bag for you. Eat your crickets, silkworms, whatever else. Probably one of the three worst things I'd ever seen eaten. The funniest ones are always the scorpions. Why the hell tourists think they can eat scorpions, and it's a thing to do when you're in an Asian country? Because talking to a lot of people, they don't actually eat scorpions. So I don't know why they do it, but it's fun watching them. You don't see that very much around Phnom Penh itself. Siem Reap, I did see that around the Pub Street area. There were a couple of little vendors carrying around little trays of scorpions and getting people to eat them off the stick. I think that was just a game thing to do. Around Riverside, I don't think I've ever seen scorpions. Probably the next yucky thing I've seen is cockroaches. I don't know what people think you can get out of cockroaches, and probably the most yucky one I've seen, never ever thought of it, deep fried black spider. And the spider itself is probably about not quite the size of the palm of your hand, but when it comes out the old fryer, it's black. I don't know if that's what it actually is, but it's actually black. And the person who took a bite out of it, I think you can probably tolerate eating the legs and all that. They come up crunchy. Funny how they all say a lot of that stuff comes out tasting like chicken. But when you took the bite out of, well, the guy took a bite out of this black spider, it just oozed black goop. It wasn't. I think everybody around him was just probably pretty much trying to hold him whatever they had eaten just before, because it just looked so disgusting. But on that, you see a lot of crickets being eaten, silkworms, tolerate them, and a few other little odd bugs here and there. And with that, also, I was in Koh San Road. I think Mr. Thailand, you were there at the same time, and we were watching this guy. He made a bet with his girlfriend that he could eat a scorpion. And I actually, after he was trying to chew through it, and I did go through this last time, and told his girlfriend, after seeing him, don't chew it as much as possible. Take quite a few swigs of your beer and just swallow. Just chew as little as possible and swallow. But, and the only other one I could really, really think of, and I do know it's quite a delicacy. Well, they do go after quite a fair bit in Vietnam, and that's rats, field rats. So I know I've seen on YouTube a few people eating them, but I just don't think I could tolerate eating that. No. So out of that, I don't mind just sitting there watching, as I said before, Koh San Road with Mr. Thailand and Miss Thailand. They were eating bugs. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Thailand weren't eating. They're sitting there having a drink there on Koh San Road watching people eat the bugs and the scorpions. Yeah, nah. And just watching the guys think they're really good and they're just doing their best not to throw up. So with that, that's always fun watching it. Tourists sometimes, I don't know what they think, but there is still plenty of good food around. I know quite a few places around in Cambodia. Still always learning. I like the little local shops, same as in Thailand. Once you get to know some of the local vendors, they actually do look after you, and you do know where to go to get the good food. I think that comes down a lot with local knowledge. The side streets in Phnom Penh, they do walk around the touristy areas, but then the sellers of those bugs just go everywhere. I was on Riverside one night, and one of the vendors, she was basically surrounded by many, many people there dishing out all the bugs, and I think she didn't pay a little tea money, one for a better word, to the local cop who was basically coming up from out of nowhere, and she saw him. She said, "No, going to get out of here." Either he was going to fine her for it or take everything, or I don't know what he was going to do, but she finished up what she was doing to serving people, and then she buzzed off. About 3/4 of an hour later, she turned back up there, and she basically stayed there for the rest of the night. So she got away with that, but you don't see bugs to the extent where they're just everywhere. You only see the little carts here and there selling the odd bugs up and down all the streets, but they travel everywhere. With that, I like to watch a lot of people try and eat them. And as I said, it's funny how a lot of them turn around and say they taste a bit like chicken. It's more so because the grill, not so much the grill, the fat they're fried in is basically probably all the used chicken oil that they've had. Just, yeah, okay, we'll just grill all this up. It'll taste like chicken. It'll be all right. If you get sick from it, it's not my problem. Well, it won't be my problem because I don't. But getting back, the restaurants that I like, which I keep going back to, is right opposite the Golden Sora Mall, or the new pub street, whatever you want to call it, on 51 Street or Street 51. That has changed over the years. Go and look on Google Maps and you will actually see what it used to be like. So I don't know why they haven't updated their photos yet, whether they're just so far behind the times, or they just, well, we've got photos of the streets and we're just going to leave it at that. I don't know. But the pictures go back to 2013. I think it was a little bit later than that. Late 2013, early 2014, because I know my first trip to Cambodia was in August, and that would have been 2013 because I've been going there for 8 years now. So they would have had to have been done just before I got there. But it's good to see those pictures there. It brings back a few memories, want for a better word. The hotels, as I said, the PC Hotel is gone. The Walkabout Bar Hotel, whatever you want to call it now, is gone. So with that, the Flamingo Hotel, the hotel itself is there. It's been re-established and remodeled and renovated to something new. With that, a few places, other places I have stayed at. I think it was the Blue Corner Hotel on Street 252. Mr. T would know about that one. That wasn't a bad hotel, but they were very restrictive because when I had my little girls come through, they wouldn't let them in to swim in the pool. That was probably the last time I actually stayed there. From there, I ended up going down to Street 282 and a Home Chick Hotel. That was actually pretty good, but I didn't know how long I was going to stay there for because the development next to it was getting higher and higher and higher. I stayed there quite a few times, probably about 5 or 6 times over the years. I just had to keep, I think he might have to want to go out for a wee-wee. which he should have. I didn't open the door for him. But anyway, with that, they looked after me quite well, but it was because of the development around that actual hotel, because when the construction starts, it starts 6 o'clock in the morning, goes through right till 10 o'clock at night, 11, 12, midnight. And if you've been out for a big night, morning after, when they start up, it's just not very good, especially when they start at 6 o'clock and you got into bed at 5 o'clock and they got their jackhammers going, banging away. No. So with that, actually was a really good hotel. They did have a pool there, and just up the road they had Scores Sports Bar. Really good. When they have some popular sports, soccer, English footy, all the really popular stuff that a lot of the expats there like to watch, that does get chock-a-block full of people. I mean, it basically ends up being standing room. That's actually still there. I looked on Google Maps yet again. It is still there. The picture was back in 2013, so that was actually there. The Home Chick Hotel, part of it was there. Next to it, on the right-hand side, I think it was a school of some sort. So somewhere along the line, they sold out, and one part of the building was originally there, and they built up next to it. So you can actually walk along the two, in between the two buildings. So that wasn't a problem there, but it did look like they put the building up next to it. But anyway, the one that I always stayed in was really good, and I enjoyed that. But then when those two other buildings started coming along, there was just too much noise. So I started looking for somewhere else to go. I did a surprise visit and stay somewhere else quickly, and that was for Maya's wedding. That was right next to a school, so I don't advise staying next to a school. With that, I didn't like that hotel. The people themselves were pretty good, but the hotel the room wasn't worth the price I paid for it. And I didn't pay a great deal. I think I paid about $35, $40 a night for it, but I was only there for a few days, but ended up staying there a little bit longer for other reasons. But in the end, I didn't like it. The service, first up, was good. After that, I won't mention its name. From there, I found my current hotel. I don't know what it's like now. Well, I do know it will be well looked after. It was a real small hotel. The Bassac Corner 9 Hotel in Bassac Lane, street number 9, corner 308. Just down the road, up the road, down the street, laneway, whatever, from Bassac Lane, or that little entertainment area there. There is another hotel just up from there. I did stay a couple of times. That was Corduroy Hotel. That is another good one. Bit more up in pricey. Probably pretty close to $100 US, $100 Australian a night. So that was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. The pool, really good, but not suitable for kids because it's this deep all the time. So when you get in one end, it's that deep. When you go down the other end, it's that deep. This is where I like the Corner 9 Hotel. That is not a deep one. It's only a sort of more getting. It does get to about waist height, bit above waist height, and that's actually quite good. But I know now for a fact that it will be overshadowed by one of the newer hotels close by, which sort of spoiled it. But I knew it was going to happen eventually. But the hotel itself, on Google Maps, was just a house. So they bought the property behind it and extended the front section to the back, put in a pool, renovated. That's my choice at the moment for hotels. And I like staying there. I've been staying there for up until recent events. 3 years, 4 years. So I usually go over there 3 times a year. So I stayed there for quite a few times. For now, I have travelled elsewhere, but I've kept that room as well. So I've paid for other rooms. So I sort of left stuff there, and they looked after me stuff. Nothing ever went missing. It was a family-run hotel. And that's why I liked it. It had probably about 16 rooms all up. If you go on Agoda, booking.com, you'll actually find it there. And I recommend that one. If you don't like the 30, 40, 500 room apartments, you like the little more boutique ones where you can sit back and relax and not worry about 1,000 people walk past you while you just sort of chill out and enjoy a nice quiet drink, which I have stayed at a few hotels. And with that, you do get a lot of, when it is busy in hotels, you get a lot of people running to and from. That drives you nuts because you hear them running up and down, especially if they've got kitties, as little rugrats. So with that, probably one of the other hotels I didn't mind, even though it was one of the ones I described I don't like, the Essence Hotel. That was pretty good. That was reasonably new, but that had a pool on top. I did a video of that, and that wasn't bad. The video I did do was when it was belting down rain, and it was really great. And with that, I thought, yeah, really good, but I don't like staying where there's hundreds and hundreds of other people as well. I think that sort of defeats my purpose of going somewhere and relaxing. I'm there to have a relaxing holiday, not a holiday where I'm just hyped up all the time. The Corner Blue Hotel was all right. You had to get the right rooms. If you got the rooms right at the very top, because there was 3 levels, and if you got the room at the very top, or some of the rooms, it was just too hot. The first, or the ground floor or the second floor were all okay, but the top floor just sort of got the sun. I don't know what it's like now because they've got that new building they built next door, which overshadowed everything. And yeah, so I don't know how that would all turn out. Yet again, that one on Google Street View on the maps, Google Maps, dated again, 2013. That was just being built, so that wasn't far off being completed. So you can see all that. If you go on Google Maps, you can find, if you know where to look, you can actually find them. That was on Street 252. Don't mind me. And yes, I did have an early start today. So with that, I moved on from there, and I did travel around. I did go to Angkor Wat, or should I say Siem Reap. I have been to Sihanoukville, or I commonly term it Chinaville. Mr. T will know about there. He went there, and I dare say we stayed at the Coolabah Hotel there. Really good. Talked about that before. He just needed something over the pool itself just to take the edge off the heat of the pool. But we went and had a few good days on the beach down there. I think he would agree that they were really good. And from that, I reckon he liked that. And I think we all did, because that was a pretty cheap afternoon by the water, on the beach, sand, talking the SH1T. From there, I always liked it down there until it got taken over, like I said on the last live stream. From there, I only stayed in Kampot once and just had a quick look through there. So it was basically an overnight stop here and then keep moving. I'm looking forward to seeing what the roads will be like. National Road 4, I would never, ever, never, ever want to drive up and down or ride up and down on that particular road. I think National Road 5 is just as bad. I don't know about 6. So they're the 3 main roads that go through there, but National Road 4, that's a shocker. Scary. I wouldn't ride a motorbike there. Now, I know a few people have. So out of that, I will go back and have a look, maybe drive through from Kampot, because I want to go down to Kep, have some of that beautiful crayfish. Getting a bit of the old moisture running in the mouth. Great place to go, but I think you let your Khmer friend go and negotiate prices to get the food, because touristy, there is a 2-tier system, always has been, and then I don't think it will change. With that, you let them go do it, and then you join them a bit later. Like when I go do a bit of shopping through the central market there in Phnom Penh, or some of the other shopping malls. Shopping malls I don't find are too bad. They're not, because they're like a lot of places, they've got their prices marked, and you can sort of hag them down a little bit. But out in the little Central Market, the touristy markets, there's a big difference in prices. Or when I go looking for something, I'll just leave Mrs. behind. I'll go walk through and have a look, catch up with her somewhere else. She said, did you find what you wanted? If I wanted something specific, like a little camera bag, which I got, and or my actual suitcase I use now, which is only a small one. I take that everywhere with me now. So it's all gone from a big suitcase down to a little one when I travel. But with that, I said, yep, that's what I want. She goes back. I told her the price that they quoted me, and she actually got it for way less than I could have. And I haggled them and haggled, and they said, nah. And I ended up walking away. When they give me some ridiculous price, it still wasn't as close as to what she would have got. But she waited a little while before she went there and got it for me. And I sort of more or less stood back and watched. But that happens just about everywhere. So out of that, when I'm doing my shopping, most of the time I'll go with her, but I'll always just be the bag carrier, because she'll do the shopping, then come and bring it back to me, and I'll carry it around while she goes and does the rest of the food shopping and so forth. That's the only way to do it, unless we're going into one of the little markets there and just sit down and have something to eat. Hey, DC, how are you, buddy? Good to see you here, mate. Just having a bit of a chitty chat. Glad you can join us. So with that, I just tend to let the missus do all the shopping as far as that's concerned, because I don't like having the two-tier prices. I know a lot of people like to up the price so they can make. There are a lot of touristy places you can go to that even for the locals, they say, yep, they say, sorry, I just got a bit distracted there. So with that, they say, I'm losing my mind here. They just don't change their price for anybody. And with that, even the locals have to pay the tourist prices when they go to some of these places. From there, some of the little places I like going, I went to back at Chinookville back in the day. Went to AVA Chat. That's where one of the waterfall is, and it's up on the mountainy side here, one for a better word, that we anchor all the Cambodia beer gets made. There's a little place there where they make all the beer, because they got all the water that runs there. But they do have a really, really good waterfall there, and you can sit there and, I love sitting underneath it, and then you get the waterfall going through. And a couple of times, well, quite a few times I've been there when I stayed there back in the day, and that was really, really good. I enjoyed going down there, because you eventually get there. It's a very touristy thing, and a lot of tourists, even the locals, go there. You drive through, and then as you're walking to the actual place where the waterfall is, you got all these other people who try to sell you all the food and all their other usual garbage, but then that means you got to carry it all the way in. So we just walk past them, just get the odd little bit here and there of what you need, and then you walk into find where you want to go, and then you pay to sit in the hut, and then you set up the hut where you're going to sit. We always try to get as close to where the water is, or the waterfall. Then the last time we actually overlooked the waterfall, and it was a really good afternoon. Had the whole family there, the kids and all, and we were just sitting back and enjoying. And every now and again, when the temperature got up a bit, you just walk down to the waterfall there, sit underneath, get a nice little massage. When you've had enough of that, you walk back up, sit down again in the hammock, and you enjoy the afternoon. You can order everything you want from there. I think yet again there was about 7 or 8 of us, and it cost, I think, around about $55, $60-ish. Don't quote me exactly on that. But that was a really good afternoon. That didn't include the tuk-tuk from our hotel in Chinookville at the time. From there, one of the other places. Where did another place? I like Otre's Beach too. I think another channel. Yeah. Oh, just reading. Yep. And this is what, yeah, the Australian lockdown, yeah, it's a disaster. Really, you got all these politicians trying and playing political tricks with us, and mate, don't know what's after them after at the moment. I really don't know. So with that, you just do it. Sometimes I really get frustrated with it, but what do you do? At the end of the day, I still can't get out of the country without special exemptions and exorbitant rip-off prices. And anyway, so it's just doing everybody's head in. We don't know where we're going with that. I try to stay away from that sort of topic. You see some it doesn't matter who you talk to, it just does your head in. So anyway, that's one topic I try to shy away from, because you get a headache from it. You just don't know where you're at and how it's all going, where it's all going to end. It's turned to SH1T again. And if we write, it's still not going to mean anything, because I still can't get out of the country. Can't do much about it. So, yeah, with that, I ended up going to Otros Beach. Mr. Thailand went there. He came a few times with me, as I said just before, when we were at the Coolabah Hotel. And really good. I enjoyed it there. And you just was close to everything. You look at, well, if you look at the two lines in Sanookville now, it's the only place I could actually, the only monument or touristy spot that I can remember that still looks the same. When I look around it, it's so changed. Yeah, development, but it's only developed for one thing, like I said in the last one. Serendip Beach used to be really great. Spend all night there. Go there during the day, see what the locals are doing on the beach and that, and then you go there at night time. For the locals, they sort of do hang around, but they don't integrate as much. Then you get the night crew come out. That's all the touristies. They get in, have their meals and so forth. From there, they have a few more drinks and then get into the clubbing at night time. So that was good back then. Where else did I go from there? I been to quite a few places. Siem Reap, I did like. I did a few other little places around for Hirsua and so forth like that. But there's not a great deal. You need to actually have a car to travel that little bit further. And at the time, I wasn't comfortable driving a car. I'd rather pay someone else to drive, because I don't have like having a few little ones of these. And driving as well, because if something happens, I'll be in a whole world of a shit fight. Yeah, I was just reading your reply. Yeah, that's the way I see it too. I don't know where we're heading with it. You got all the different states and territories having different ideas. Instead of having one prime minister telling the rest of the country what's going on, you got all these little individual ones dictating to everybody what they're doing. And it's clearly not working. So where it's all going to finish, I don't know. I've stayed off a lot of the media. I do hear a little bit here and there on what goes on, but I think we're still a long way off from trying to beat it. I was talking about it the other day. I think basically vaccination is the only way to go. All the naysayers, I know quite a few doctors, and they say these people that are naysayers, yeah, right, don't want to know about it. The people that do in the know, don't want to get vaccinated. And with that, I reckon that once it's vaccinated, we've got to learn to live with it. Just like the flu, 100 and something years ago, what was the biggest killer in this country, in the world? Flu, common cold, flu. And what do we got now? we learn to live with it. So just got to protect yourself. Just because you have the jab, it's not going to save you. Well, it will sort of save you, in my opinion only. And from that, I look at it. I will more than likely somewhere along the line, because I'm in a higher risk area and business, I do come into contact with a lot of people, a lot of exposure sites. So from there, I think it's only a matter of time, but I've already had my first vaccination. And from there, I will get my second one. If I get it, chances are I'll get it, but I won't die from it. And that's what the vaccine's all about. Yep. I'm dreaming of that one there, DC. I'm with you on that one. I'm dreaming of it. Just got to wait for this time when they open up and we can get across there. So it's only a matter of time for me. I've got plans in place, but I can't do it just yet. I have to wait. I don't think it's for us. We're not going to be able to or be let out of this country until sometime next year. It doesn't matter who you talk to. That's exactly where it'll all come to next year, until they get the vaccination rates up. And Cambodia is doing a bloody good job of it. They're right up there with it, whether they like it or not. There's still a lot of people there that say they're a bit sus about it, but they've taken the Chinese one, for better or worse. As a couple of people have always said, it's better to have something than nothing, whether you like it or not. I tend to think sometime next year. I wasn't planning on doing anything till, well, I'll just keep changing from what I'm thinking. Maybe the end of next year, might get a chance to get over there so I can sort of set myself up for the final push to retirement, to stay over there and base myself out of there. I don't know yet. The way things keep changing, like the flu, like this other thing, perseverance. Just try and do what you got to do, as much as you disagree with the way things are. Just got to wait. So with that, I did look up on a few little things there, and I'm not going to pay rip-off flight fares. Cambodia is talking about opening up. Thailand's in a smozzle. Not only do they have the virus at the moment, they got their monsoon going through, and from what I've been looking at on YouTube and from a few friends, that's just knee-deep in water all around the touristy areas. Bangkok, it got there as usual. The floods, or the monsoon rain's coming through, and when it comes down, it belts down. There's a lot of videos coming through at the moment. Phuket's been hit. I haven't heard anything about Koh Samui, but I'm assuming that would happen. With there, you've got Pattaya as well, up north. That probably would just have a little bit of flashy rain go through, and that's about it, because that's a lot higher up. It's not in the lowlands and the flat floodplains like Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket. Another one I haven't thought of, just thought of them, was Hua Hin. So with that, you know, they got the monsoon rains going through, and you hear the usual, oh, bloody rain, bloody rain. Well, like I said to a few people when I was in Phuket one time, I was sitting out there, been out in the morning, done me a little bit of a walk, had a look around, started raining. Yeah, I knew it was going to rain that day because the clouds were coming over and everything, and it started raining. Maybe way back to the hotel where I was staying at, and I was up on the first floor, and they have a fairly big veranda, but they have the canopy itself only come up halfway, so I still had a fair coverage to sit down and just watch the show go past, because I could see the actual mountains, and from that, yeah, the mountains would be covered by the clouds, and then you see the rain go through, then it'll clear up again, then it'll rain, and it just kept going through. And this was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Thailand, in Phuket, sorry. And I was just sitting there having a couple of beers, and guys come out of their room. Finally, they wake up. And from there, they said, what are you doing sitting out in the rain? I said, I'm not in the rain. I'm underneath the cover here, enjoying the magical view Mother Nature's putting on for us. And it was really good. And having a few beers. And they said, oh, no, but it's raining. It looks miserable. I said, where are you from? I knew they were Australian. One said he was from Adelaide. The other one said he was from Sydney. And I said, what's Adelaide like now? Oh, it's pissing down rain. It's shit. It's crap. It's cold. It's windy. What's Sydney like? He said, pretty much the same, but a little bit warmer. And I said, what's the temperature? So around about 8, 10 degrees. I said, and you're here in Thailand. Might be wet. It's not really windy, but it's 25, 26, 27 degrees thereabouts. It was probably a little bit around that. I wouldn't say much more than that. And Mother Nature's putting on a beautiful show, and you're whinging about the weather back in Melbourne. I think you need to sit down and have a few more beers. And he said, you're quite right. He said, we would be home sitting inside by the fire trying to get warm, yet we're here just about ready to go out and have something to eat. So they sat down. In the end, had about 6 or 7 people all sitting down having a chat about the beautiful weather there was in Phuket. It's magic. I like sitting there having a drink. Well, it's nice and warm watching Mother Nature do its thing. It's always good. And from there, I did that once before in Koh Samui, and I think it was a holiday, and it just happened to rain. I only had a handful of beers left, and that was annoying because there was no beer to be sold. You couldn't get beer from anywhere. That was at Central Festival. It was. Had to stop and think. It's been a while since I've been there. Central Festival. And with that, couldn't get any alcohol anywhere. So I was down to my last handful of beers. So I sat there and drank slowly for the rest of the day, and had to wait till later on that night before I could go out and find a nice little bar to go and have a few little slippery, sly, drinky poos. So with that, I always say when you're over there, you enjoy it. It's warm weather. You can drink, even if it's a bad day on holiday is still better than a good day at work. So if it's raining wherever you are, yeah, great. Put up with it, deal with it, move on, think of the next best place you would like to be. When you're over, well, where I want to end up being in Cambodia, it might rain, but it's not going to be cold. When I wake up in the morning, get out of bed, it's not cold. I'm over this cold thing. I think a few other people would be as well, but that is what it is. So from there, where else am I doing? Drinking stories. Well, how many drinking stories can you have? I've done quite a few over the period of time. Drinking, of course. You get hammered. You get, well, it doesn't matter where you go. As long as it's a nice warm day, warm evening, you can just sort of drink quite a fair bit. Favourite places? Well, they're all changing so quick now. What they'll be like travelling back to Cambodia, I don't know. I think it's going to be rather scary to see what's there, and more importantly, what's not around, not only in Cambodia, but in Thailand, where they relied a lot on tourism. And that's going to be a hard thing to try and work out what is still there. There are still, when you look around, a lot of bars there. They've just closed up, but just as many, if not more, have closed down for good. Listening to a few YouTubers around Pattaya, you just look at a lot of the bars, they just can't sustain the rent for nothing, and they've just given up, walked away, paid the rent, done a runner, or just literally just walked away. I said, I can't afford this place, and I can't afford to pay people when I'm not earning $1 at all. And it is a pretty hard thing. And looking around through Cambodia, pretty much the same. Pub Street was slowly going down. From there, I think when they got this situation going, eventually they were going to redo all the streets. So that was probably one thing I didn't expect them to do, was just to dig up just about every street around. But it'll eventually look good, but they got to finish it first. A lot of people saying it was looking good. Another person I did hear say that, you know, when they put something down, they dig it back up again and put something else down. I thought, it's not my country to do. But with that, I reckon we just go with the flow with it. It's not my country. I just do what it is and enjoy. I'll be in retirement mode when I get there. Not the very next time or this time, when I go, whenever that turns up. I will hopefully have a lot of plans set in place so I can finish up my time there. Got my 4 girls there, my partner's grandson, and got the rest of the family there. So that's what I'll be looking forward to do. The hardest part is just sitting and waiting. Hang on, let me just reading here. Yeah. I don't know what some people and the way they think on a lot of times. I think sometimes you got to play it silly. There's just some rules are just ridiculous. I don't know why. And yet they let other people come in with nothing. You know, you bring skills with you, skills that they could use here. And I think that makes me cringe a lot, because I see that with a lot of things. I can do a lot of good things, but then some other people just get so much handed to them. I know the system's there to be rewarded. If you know how to play the system, great. I did that many years ago when I had my own transport company. I played the system. On paper, I paid a shitload of tax. I paid everything. But in the end, cash out, I didn't pay that much. I won't go into the actual details of it, but that served me well, served me purpose, and I did make money out of it. But the price of fuel and a few other things just kept going up and up and up. And as a small single operator, I just couldn't maintain it. And now Mr. Thailand will turn around and can confirm this, and I know a lot of other people can say the same. I can't compete with some of these new companies that are coming in, and these companies using these 471 visa holders. And I know how they do it. They go and buy a brand new truck. How the hell can I afford to pay 250, 300,000 Australian dollars for a new truck, and then go and do the same work that I'm doing and on subcontractor rates? I can't afford that. I can't afford to live. I'll be paying it all out just on the repayments alone. But where they're getting it from, I won't say a great deal, but where they're getting it from is that they're getting sponsored. These 471 visa operators, they come in, the drivers come in, get tested. Yep, you're okay. You can drive a truck. So they go out in these brand new trucks, drive around. Whatever they earn that day, basically that's what covers everything. The driver's wages and the maintenance and repayments and everything on the truck. And the 471 sponsorship money goes straight into the owner's pocket. Well, not pocket, but into the business. How can I compete with that? You know, they're getting an extra $200, $300, $400 a week for what? Sitting there. That's only from one. I know quite a few of them had anywhere up to, you know, between 5 to 10 471 operators, one for a better word. You know, that's $1,000 a week minimum. You know, $2,000 a week minimum. Just for sitting there and doing nothing. Yet for me to earn that, I'd have to work my ass off. So exploring a little bit. Yeah, well, I looked at it. Thailand's really making it hard for everybody to get into and stay there. I looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. And I really think Thailand would have been a great place, but their interpretation from site to site to site is just so hard to do. You could go from one province to another, immigration departments, and they'll all interpret it so differently. You can go to one place there for years on end, nothing, not a problem. Submit the same paperwork in another province, they'll kick you out of the country. I've heard that done. Or you go to another province again, you've got to have all this extra paperwork. But I didn't need that. You would have been better off going all the way back to the province where you went regularly. And it's just, what's going on here? Ooh, bit of a fuzzy fuzz there. Don't know what that was. Just check my internet. Still going okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and I just thought, well, I don't want to jump through hoops. I want to get to somewhere where I'm going. And just live. Yeah, well, when you go through what they do on the visa side of it, and you just have enough of it. You get your 90-day, you pay for your yearly visa, and you still got to report every 3 months. Then you got to do a visa run. I still don't get that. So, and I just don't like it. But the way I look at it, I don't know how it'll be in the future for Cambodia. But the way I look at it now, you can get it if you just get the ordinary visa when you arrive, $35. As soon as you get there, you fill out all the paperwork, hand it off. Within, if you're in Phnom Penh, it should take you around about 2-ish weeks. You can get your extension to 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. I think the 12-month was around about $340 US. That's just on the ordinary visa extension. And that gives you 12 months. And then with that 12 months, you go the multi-entry permit. And it's great. You can come and go to suit yourself, and you don't need to keep reapplying for the visa all the time. And it's valid for 12 months. And done. If you want to retire there, here we go. Yeah, something's going on there. And I just think, well, go in the retirement, and that'll be a little bit less, but over a longer period of time, they can gain out of it. And I think that's great. I don't mind paying $300 a year. So that would work out to about 440, 450-ish, $60 a year for me. So what? Multi-entry, come and go as I please. A cheap airfare to Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Philippines, all close by. That's the only places I want to go visit. Go over to the Philippines, do their visa-y thingy, go do some scuba diving, whatever. Down by the beach, that's all I want to do. Vietnam, go up through Nha Trang, up through Ha Long Bay and all those Da Nang and all those places along there. Go up and have a look through Vientiane, Laos, can do, or even go over to Burma. At the moment, I wouldn't go to Burma. I don't know how that's going. It's gone pretty quiet. But, I just find that pretty simple. Yes, infrastructure in Thailand is really, really good. The hospitals there, you get the right hospital, really, really good. Trains and traveling around the city itself is really good. You get the right, sorry about it, I'm just scratchy. Get the right taxi driver. You can have a great experience. You stay away from all the touristy ones that want to rip you off, and you're doing really well. But you just get tired after jumping through hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop, if you want to stay there long term. And there's so many different categories of visas and so many different regulations, so many different interpretations. And then it's all the extra money you got to pay out. And that's the biggest killer for a lot of people. They just don't like paying out lots and lots of money. Cambodia, yeah, you still can have the same sort of problem, but they're basically making it the same. From the 3 places that I've come in from, all been the same. I haven't done a border crossing, land border crossing. I've done mostly flights, and they're all been so simple. Go in, come in from another, like mostly Thailand, fly in, Siem Reap, bang, bang, $30. There's your 30-day tourist visa. Off you go. No problem. Go into Phnom Penh. It was a little bit harder before, earlier on, but only because their little immigration section there for your visa on arrival, if you could do it electronically, you paid through the nose for that. I think you end up paying nearly about 45 US dollars for that. Better off just waiting till you get there, pay your $30 in US, but you have the correct money for it, and you just hand it over, stamp, next person stamps it, next person does his thing, next person collects the money, next person gives you your passport with your visa, your 30-day visa, and away you go. In Thailand, you go through, get your stamp, go, get your 30-day visa, but if you want to extend that, you can't extend it on a tourist visa. You got to go away and do it. Then you got to apply to get your visa. There were lots of other scams that we're doing, but they've been cracking down a lot on that. And from there, doing that now on a tourist visa to get an extension, I don't know whether you can or not. I haven't followed that much. I just got over trying to work out how I can stay there other than doing a longer hop, skip and jump, go to another country, a visa run, then come back and do another 30 days. Then if you do that far too often, they ask you, why are you doing so many visa runs there? You're going over there and you're coming straight back. Nah, that's not for me. I'd rather go somewhere. I'll sit there for a little while. If I don't have to do a visa run or anything, that's Cambodia for me. Eventually, I think they will make things a lot better, a lot easier. I've been following along with their new airport. That's going to be massive. We all know what tourist is going to be going through there. The new Battambang airport, or Battambang, or whatever we want to call it, that's coming along for Siem Reap. So the old little airport will be redundant, but then it's going to be, I think, over an hour drive from Battambang through to Siem Reap. So it'll do good for Battambang, the township there, but it's not going to do much good for people wanting to go from there over to Siem Reap and then stay wherever they're going in their hotels. What they're going to charge for that, I don't know. But for the time being, get the airport done. We'll see when that all happens. It'll just mean we'll get a great new airport to fly into and be really good. I'll still go to visit Thailand because I've got a lot of friends there. But from there, I just think it's way easier, and I'll travel from here. I don't know what how long your flights are from England across, from the UK across to Cambodia. I think you'd have to have a changeover flight somewhere. I don't think they have a direct flight from. I know I can't get a direct flight. I have to go to Bangkok across to Malaysia, then across, or to Singapore, then across to Cambodia. That's the only ways I can get across there. There is no direct flight from Melbourne because there's just not enough people go there. So I don't know what it's like from your end of the world there, whether you can get a direct flight. I'll be safe to assume no, but that works out to about if I go from Melbourne to Phnom Penh with a stopover, the best I can do is 13 hours. And then just go through the roof from there. Name your own, but depending on how much you want to pay, if you want to stop over somewhere, I reckon if I'm going to go do that again, I'll do a stopover somewhere and then stay there a day and then move on. Because to get to Bangkok, that's a 10-hour flight. And then you got to get your connecting flight, which is usually about 3 hours later. To Malaysia is an 8-hour flight. It's an hour difference, so it still works out at a 13-hour flight. Doesn't matter which way I look at it. Through Singapore, Malaysia, or Bangkok, it still works out to the best I can do is a 13-hour flight. That's the best I can do. So that's why I like to go to Thailand, spend a couple of days there, catch up with some friends there, and then from there do the hour flight. And basically when I end up in Cambodia, Siem Reap, Phnom it's only going to be an hour 10-minute flight to Bangkok. To Vietnam, I think it's an hour and 25. Down to Ho Chi Minh, to Da Nang, I think it's about an hour and 15. And I think it's about 3 hours to Manila. A bit longer if I go to Cebu. But I don't know if there's a direct flight to Cebu for that one. I think you got to go into Manila and then get your connecting flight from there. But I'm waiting for that one to happen. Oh, I've got the hiccups now. I'm waiting for that one to happen. But when they get all this infrastructure and everything going that little bit better, they are upgrading the trains. They have redone the train line from Phnom Penh through to Sihanoukville. Was it Sihanoukville? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. And no, Kampot. I can't remember. I think pretty sure it's Kampot. But anyway, doesn't go fast. For a 4-hour drive with a reasonable driver, not a crazy driver. I think it takes about 7 hours on the train. That was as of a few years ago. So if they get that up and running again, they did have the train running from this airport out to the city. Still cheap. Crazy how they do it. I did watch it a few times. I don't know if anybody, I'm pretty sure there's probably 1 or 2 videos I've come across, but I never watched them. But it'd be interesting to see how the train goes through but it goes to the train station in Phnom Penh itself. So it'd be interesting to see how, well, it's like, I think it's more in lines with a light rail system. So, and, well, that's the way I always look at it now. A quick stay in Thailand, catch up with friends, and then go from there into Cambodia. And then you can base yourself out of there and go wherever, Thailand still has a lot to offer. I do know quite a few different stories I can tell you about why I turned off it a fair bit. But once you get away from the touristy areas, I didn't mind it. I like exploring. I haven't done a lot of exploring because the last few years I've been taking quite a few people over there and just showing them around and getting through. And same in Phnom Penh in Cambodia and Siem Reap. So, and they all enjoyed it. Especially one, he didn't really want to go by himself, and he'd never travelled overseas. I think the joke was the furthest he travelled overseas was to a little island called Phillip Island, which is just over a little bridge, 1 kilometre long. That's about as much as he's travelled overseas. But that was an experience for him. He sort of loved it, opened his eyes, and he actually came back the second time. He couldn't get enough of it. It was just like, it was amazing watching him. It's a big story about how he ended up not going the first time, but he actually sucked it up because there was a stuff up. And from there, he sucked it up, got through it, and the next day he's on the plane. So he lost 1 day out of the whole trip that we had. And he enjoyed it emphatically, and he wants to go back over there. Don't you, Mr. Jet Weapon? So, yeah, so with that, I still reckon Cambodia has still got a lot to offer. They've still got a long way to go. People, they're not as, you still get your scams, and you still have your problems. If you've got your wits about you and you keep aware, I wouldn't say paranoid, like some people think you need to be. I have seen some shit stuff done over there, but I think a lot of people bring that on themselves on the way they react to people, especially in Thailand. You take on one Thai person, that never happens. You take on everybody. With looking after yourself, out of my, 11 plus years traveling overseas through Thailand and into Cambodia, it's only been 2 things that ever really happened to me, and I'll say that both of them were my fault. And things you should never really do. And this comes down to, Mrs. and I went shopping in the old market behind the night market in Phnom Penh, and it just got me money exchanged, and I put it in my pocket. That's fine doing that, but what I should have done was put it in, most of it in one pocket and pulled just a little bit out and put it in another pocket. So when I pulled the money out, it was only a little bit. But I didn't do that. And this particular day, we went right into the market. And obviously there was one of these little guys wandering around, little tea-leaf one for a better word, the shit. He got away with $500 US. But anyway, out of that, we were sitting down and I went to pull the money out. Well, actually pulled the money out. And I actually was distracted by talking to the missus, held the money in my hand, just loosely, because I was going to pull it, whatever it was I was going to pull, over my shoulder from here, because I had it in my right hand, just went, gone. By the time I turned around, if you know the markets, the little markets there, they're like little laneways like this, and they're rabbit warrens to go. By the time I got up, he's gone. It's only made $500. What am I going to do? Report it to the cops? It's going to cost me more to make a report than what the money was worth. So I was rather angry at that. I spat it, cracked it. I don't even know what he looked like. So what do? You can't chase someone you don't know. So with that, lesson learned. Only when you do exchange your money, keep a little bit in one pocket, get rid of the other one somewhere else. You don't put your hand in all the time and it's not obvious. Don't ever wear a bum bag, a fanny bag. Oh, fair pick. They are shocking. But I always just put most of the money in a really deep pocket. And when I do exchange money, I have my pants on, where to get your hand in, it's not an easy tea-leaf thing to do. And with that, if they knock off $20, $20 is $20. Good luck to them. I'm not going to cry over it, but I'm also not going to chase for it. I'm not going to worry too much about it. But it's better than losing the $500 that I lost this particular time. And the other one, that where I got, well, as again, was my fault. I was sitting actually talking to Mr. Thailand when he was at home here, and I was sitting there having a few brewskis on the riverside there. I thought, oh yeah, just call him. Yeah, how are you? How's things going? Everything? Yeah. And he's having his great day at home. Jealous because I'm sitting there having a few drinky boos there, and he's not. And I just went and bought Mrs. a nice little bracelet. Gold, of course, proper. Put it in my pocket, and it just wouldn't sit right where it was. So I pulled it out, put the phone up, just sitting in front of me on the bench there, having a yak to him on Messenger or whatever it was at the time. I can't remember what it was. And for whatever stupid reason, I must have put that little pouch just sitting on my lap. And we talked and talked and talked. I don't know how many beers I had, but my partner, one of her friends, I know exactly what she looks like, deaf mute, and she was sitting there, we just communicating. She was been all right up until this particular incident, and time to move on. Yep. Packed up the phone, put the phone away, and everything. Got up and left. But when I was saying goodbye to her, she wasn't looking at me face. She was looking down. And I'm going, hello, bye. We're going now. But she wouldn't move her eyes, because when I stood up, I didn't notice that the bracelet had fallen off my lap. So didn't say nothing. She just sat there and just didn't blink an eyelid, just looking down. But instead of her being an honest person, she didn't point to it. She just sort of, yep, I'll sit here, because she knew what it was. I know that for a fact. And from there, by the time I walked round the corner, and I think we got about 50 steps down there. By the time I realised what I'd done, I put my hand in my pocket, went straight back. She was gone. So $500 yet again. So overall, it's cost me $1,000 US. Both my fault. So what do? I look at it. It's a lesson learned. If you're going to exchange cash, don't take all that with you. Only take what you're really going to spend out. Big ticket items, pay with your credit card or whatever, then that gets covered, because you use that only in legitimate places, hotels, big department stores and so forth like that. In Cambodia, they don't take credit cards in all these little establishments. It's a cash. They like the old cash rule. So with that, I pay for the big ticket items out of the big shopping malls, Aeon malls, stuff like that, TVs, washing machines, stuff like that. I've bought from there. One, it's on credit card. Two, you get warranty. You go to some of these smaller places and you try to pay with credit card. No, cash. Something happens, you go back there. Oh, we want this fixed on warranty. They don't want to know you. They've got the cash. Go tell someone who cares. But with the bigger stores, you'll actually do get some service back out of it. That I've always stood by. Those, out of all the years traveling, those have been the only two sort of stupid things that have happened to me. And my own fault. I can't grumble about it. I know the people are there. I've walked around only once by myself and in Phnom Penh from one of the bars. Don't ask me where it was because it was a fair walk getting back to my hotel on 172 Street. Yeah, 172 Street or Street 172, whichever way you want to look at it. And I thought, I think I've come the wrong way, and it was really dark. And I didn't have much money on me anyway. So what were they going to get? My travel phone, which it's only a cheap one. I didn't really care too much about that. Just comes down to what are they prepared to do to get that phone? And bit of paranoia going because I sort of back in the early days didn't know my way around a great deal, but managed to get back to where I wanted to go. So that was all right. And then I'll look at it. Sure, made it back safely. Silly thing to do. So wherever I go, tuk-tuk. I don't walk 2-3 o'clock in the morning back from anywhere. I'll get a tuk-tuk for the sake of $1, $2. You get a crap, you get a lift back to your hotel, 10, 15 minute, not even in a tuk-tuk. You're not going to get attacked or, not much is really going to happen unless the tuk-tuk driver has an accident. And then if he has an accident, well, you're not going to pay for his accident anyway. So with that, that's the way I'll sort of look at that. In Thailand, the story that I'll go with, which is another reason why I stopped going to a lot of the touristy places. Yeah, all good to go and have fun, but you can't keep going there and having fun every night. It just sort of wears you out. That's why I like going exploring outside of the area and visiting. So with the one story that I do have, I look at it. It's experience. Yep. You get drunk. The girls actually do take advantage of you. You hear of a lot of stories that will come out pretty much similar. I did hear one later. He was sort of more or less telling the story that, what's going on here? Fuzzy again. He was telling a story pretty much similar to mine. He got tired of it because it did it only happened to me once. I thought, no, this is not right. But it happened to him a couple of times, so he set it up. Anyway, what I did, I've been out drinking with a few friends here and there that I'd met up with. And I decided, after dinner, went out and had a few more drinky poos in Phuket, this was. And from there, I went for a walk around, ran into another bar area, and it was actually one of the girls grabbed me from behind. Oh, yeah, how are you? Yeah, I remember you from last time. Yeah. So I spent a few dollars with it and whatnot, and it was in Soy Sea Dragon. And from there, I'm going back home. I'll be leaving soon. So, you come have dinner with us. I said, what do you mean? So, I'll go and have a few more drinks. What time are you going to finish work? I said, about 1 o'clock. I thought that was a bit strange. So anyway, I thought, I'll go and have a bite to eat later on. No worries, because I was leaving the next day, so I didn't care. So I didn't want to get too drunk. So with that, I go back, have a few more drinks at a few other places, come back there. Yeah, around 1 o'clock. Yep, let's go. So I get friends to come with us. That sort of rings alarm bells with me. You get friends to come with us? Okay. So there end up being 7 of us. And so I go, well, I'm not really that hungry. And so I wasn't too worried up front, being a bit silly. I should have been alarm bells. I should have stated there and then the obvious what was going to happen. We went to this little restaurant out in the back ways a little bit. So that was all right, back alleyways. So that was all right. Yeah, I've been there before at this particular restaurant, so it wasn't too bad. And with that, I had some fried rice and a king prawn and a couple of beers. So that doesn't come to a great deal. I think it was probably about 250 baht, 300 baht, something like that. Wasn't expensive back then. I think the king prawn was probably the most expensive part out of the whole lot. Could have even been a bit more. I think the king prawn itself was probably about 70 baht, and the beers are usually around about 50 to 60 baht. Even if you go into the 7-Eleven or the 7, you can get them for about 28 to 32 baht per bottle of beer. So that was cheaper going into the 7-Eleven and walking around with a few beers. But anyway, so we were there. Initially, there was only 3 of us. I thought, oh, yeah, that's not too bad. So I knew I was going to pay for her dinner, the one that came with me, and she said her friend come. Okay, then all of a sudden, 2 more turned up, then another 2. Thinking, what's going on here? Where'd they come from? Oh, that's okay. They're friends. So they're all sitting down. I think, as I said, must have been about five of them. I can't remember because they've been drinking a little bit. And I'm thinking, no, this is not right. I'm not paying for all them. I didn't say anything. I just thought straight on, I'm not paying for them. No, I'm just watching. I've already ordered my meal. She's ordered her meal. Friends ordered just a little bit. And I knew she was a bit sus, thinking, what's happening? Am I paying for this? Or is that Falang paying for it? So I could just sort of read it. So I was a bit sus about it. So I watched. Then the others came along. When they all turned up, it's just like a free-for-all. They're ordering all this food. I'm thinking, definitely I'm not paying for this. So anyway, I let it go. And they started bringing out all the food and everything. And when they sit down, they were hanging into it. And then I just went, oh, shit. I've left my camera somewhere. Oh, I know where it is. I've got to go get it. I'll be back in a minute. So they sort of, oh, poor you. So I went up to the barman and said, I'll be back to the counter and said, I'll be back in a minute. But here's mine. I didn't expect them to come here, but I'm not paying for those. I have to go because I got an early flight in the morning. Bullshit. And then from there, I just walked away and left them. I think I paid about 1,000 baht thereabouts. So it would have covered a little bit of it, but it wouldn't have covered everything that they were ordering. So I said to the girls, I've got to go back. I think I know where I left my camera. And I walked away. I never went back. So the next morning, I don't know, whatever. I didn't give a rat's ass because I knew they were going to expect me to pay because Thai girls don't eat that much unless someone, or don't order that much unless someone else is paying for it. And I look at it and just think, I'm not the only one that's done it. And I didn't expect it to happen to me because I was only the one person and possibly another person, so paying for 2. And the second person was hum and hawing. They didn't really want to eat that much. But these others just come in and ordered food after food. I mean, we're talking plates. I know when they order, they like to sit down and they know someone else is paying. They just go berserk and order. And when they eat, they eat. So with that, I don't know what happened after that. I paid me 1,000 baht, said, I've got to go. I got an early flight. The girls said they're going to fix it all up. They're having a night out together. Bullshit again. And, I went back to my hotel. Best part about that was none of them knew where my hotel was. So I didn't care about that. And that was good. And they had to cop the bill. I paid for my bit. I made sure, and I paid a bit extra. And I said, put the rest of whatever I leave you, you can take it as a tip or put it to their bill. I don't care. I have to go. I'll be late. So I left, and I didn't go out the next morning. I think my flight was around about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So out of that, I just stayed near the hotel, close by, and I just turned around, and then from there got me a little tuk back, and went to the airport and flew out. Hey, g'day Marcus, how are you, buddy? Good to see you on here. How's things going? Hope they're all going well for you. I'll take it. Good news. Yeah, just having a little bit of a ranty about a few things here and there. So with that, so I haven't done that again since. And with that, I thought that was probably the hardest part. I like Phuket because I actually met quite a few people over there because I like scuba diving, but that sort of spoiled it for me, and I didn't need that. But that's part and parcel of the Thai culture over there. girls see her as a walking wallet. And the way I look at it, and as I describe to a lot of people, I think about your thinking, eh? You're thinking about your, oh, well, no doubt. Hear about soon enough, I'd say. Wish Canal and you the very best for the foreseeable future. You know what I'm talking about there. Hope she's doing okay at the moment. Yeah, so I met quite a few people, and one of the scuba dive shops over there, I got to know one of the owners really well. We end up chatting for ages, and I reckon that I've sent a lot of people to his shop. I don't expect anything from it. You just do the right thing when you get to know people who are looking after you. And, mate, and he did. He looked after me. And so everybody that wants to go over there, I said, if you want to do some scuba diving, snorkeling, a boat trip, go to Aussie Divers in Phuket, Darren Gaspari and the two Bryans. I can't remember their last names, but I know Darren because he actually worked not far from here. And, yeah. She's ready to go. She says, out, get out. I reckon she would. So, yeah. Oh, well. With that, and I always put a lot of people onto them there and have a good time. In scuba diving, I only done a little bit of scuba diving in Chinookville, but I don't think there'd be any of that right now. So, hence, the way I look at it now, my best chance doing a bit of scuba diving is either through down to Cebu and then Phuket, or go back to Koh Samui. Koh Samui I didn't mind. As far as the scans were concerned, they were not in your face. I recommend Koh Samui if you want to go to Thailand as a first-timer, newbie, nowhere near as bad. You pay that bit more, but I think you get eased into the culture. And that's what mate did with me, sort of, yep. Just go with the flow, learn it. It's not in your face. If you go to Phuket, Bangkok, or Pattaya, it's just so much to take in so quick. And it's just, you just lose it, really. Think of what, who, where, when, and, you know, it can leave a bad taste in your mouth. But with that, I explored Koh Samui for three and a half years, thereabouts, probably a little bit more. In the meantime, I still went to Bangkok, went to Chiang Mai, God knows how many other places through there, exploring through those years. And then it was because I couldn't go to a friend's wedding in Nakhon Ratchasima, and couldn't go to that. So I spat it with the boss because they had a blackout period. No one was allowed to travel anywhere. It was a peak holiday period, and I spat it. Everybody else can go. Why can't I? Because everybody else has booked out all the spots. So I was a bit annoyed at that. And from there, I just thought, bugger it. That was, as I said in my first video, my first live stream, that's when I went to Cambodia, and that was pretty much in my face. Totally opposite to everything I say to a few people. But it's a learning curve, exploring. And I've always thought, I'll go back to Koh Samui. I know it's changed so much. Yeah. Oh, and I say that as much as I hate cities, I hate Melbourne, hate Brisbane, hate Sydney, well, for other reasons as well. Adelaide's just churches. Never got to go to Perth. Been just about everywhere, up and down. 43 years of doing what I've been doing. Sort of, you get to know quite a fair bit. I did see a physiotherapist. She said, "Oh, good, come out of lockdown. You can go travel around Victoria." I said, "What am I going to see in Victoria?" 14 four-wheel drives. I think about 5 camper vans and caravans. I think it was 2 caravans and 3 camper trailers. I still got a shitload of camping gear out there. I don't use it all. I don't have a four-wheel drive at all. Don't have a car at all. I only have a bike. Well, I do have a car, but that's another story. Take a deep breath on that one. And I get more out of traveling overseas and exploring new cultures. Since my mate first dragged me to Koh Samui, and the first time was with him, sort of, well, yeah, this is totally different culture. I'm not going into the reasons why he dragged me over there, but that was after a very bad year all round. From there, the second time we went back again within 3 months. The third time I went by myself. So the first time was for 10 days. The second time was for 16 days. And the third time in Koh Samui was for 23 days. The first trip it cost me $3,400 in flights and hotel accommodation, not including meals or anything like that. The second trip cost me $2,300 because I learnt what to look out for. This is all new to me back then. My third trip, I went for 23 days, and that cost me a grand total of $1,300 for 23 days. That's hotels and the flights to and from. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. I can't complain about that, knowing where to search for. Hotels went from a really, really pretty close to a 5-star hotel. I did stay into the more 3-star. That was also still on the beach. I opted to stay in for one of the little units rather than the new building they built, which were a bit more pricey. I said, no, I'll stay in the unit. And that was actually quite good. They renovated the inside. The bathroom amenities there were all spick and span, being really done up. So they were really nice. But at the front was just like a little unit. So it was great. I enjoyed it. I actually do have a picture of the girl walking down this little pathway. That's on my home screen on the computer. I've had that for years. And that was just one of those little pictures I took as she walked past, as you do. I won't get a smack in the head from anybody by saying that. But, yeah, and from there, I explored from there. I spent the next 3 years exploring there, taking as much time off as I could by myself. What do? You go and explore. And that's what I like to do. Then I went to Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and a few other places with the girlfriend at the time. And from there, I explored more and more and more. Then there was a few friends that we ended up going to Pattaya. So I ended up going down there and having a look down there, which I sort of put off because there's the only reason I did go there was to catch up with a couple of friends that were down there. And I ended up catching up with them down there. So I thought I'll go back there again. And the last time was when I took a group of friends down there. So that was all right. And then we extend on to Cambodia in the meantime. But the more I explored Cambodia, the less time I spent in Thailand. It was basically just a stopover for a couple of days to catch up with a few friends, do a bit of exploring there, a few little videos here and there, which I have done, and then fly on over to Cambodia and just basically chill out there. And I think do your partying in Thailand, get all that out of your system, go and relax in Cambodia. You can still do your cheap drinks. I still like my 50-cent beers. I still reckon they're pretty good. And I just sit back and chill. Yeah, I found that out pretty much the same, that they just can be too pushy in a lot of the bars. And, I found that quite a fair bit there, DC. I just got over the rip off, and that, as I said, that came out, and it's still happening, and it will never stop happening. And that's why you got to distinguish yourself between being a tourist, and it's quite easy to do, and a non-tourist. And I always go around, and when the girls come up, you know the spiel that's going to come out. Hello, where you from? Where you stay? How long you stay here for? They're the three main questions they will always ask. And I'll let everybody else answer to them. And you just see them, oh, yeah, they're staying at the President, they're staying at the Hilton, they're staying at Rembrandt's in Bangkok. And their eyes are going, wow, expensive, because I know Rembrandt's, I think you pay about $180 a night there plus for a room. So the girls are going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Not me. They come to me, where you from? Oh, I'm Australian, yeah. Yeah. And then one of the others would just turn around and say, yeah, how long are you here for? And they say, what do you mean how long am I here for? I come here tonight and I'll go somewhere else tomorrow night. Oh, how long are you staying in Thailand? And then the other guys would say, oh, no, he lives here. And you just see that, oh, okay. And then you see them start to rearrange their thinking towards a person who lives in Bangkok. So I dress not like a tourist, and that's the biggest thing with them. You can't dress as a tourist, and because that's what they're trained to look for. They're trained to look for the tourist. They're trained to look for the walking wallet. And what I mean by the walking wallet is when they get you, they want you to open up your wallet and just give it all to them. And that's what I don't like about it. I've had some get away from the touristy areas out of central Bangkok, on the real death trap touristy places. Get away from there. You can't get a lot of the genuine ones. And I've talked to quite a few genuine ones there, and they're really good. And I've had some good conversation, good relationships with them. And none of them have been bar girls where they push you. They all want to pay their own way. They like paying their way. They take offense to you paying for them, because then that demeans them as being their independence. So I sort of get that. And if you go to the touristy bar-y area, that's what you've got to expect when you go there, and you've got to be on your game. When you go outside of there, I think you can relax. And it's exploring outside that. That's when they see you dressed up as a tourist. That's the worst part about it. And I got sick and tired of being harassed as a tourist. I said, I'm not a tourist. I live here. Stop harassing me, In the end, you just got to walk away, keep going. Yep. And in Cambodia, you don't really get that. You walk down there, 136. Actually took me years to go down 104 Street, down Street 51. You don't really get that. They're not in your face like that. What was the name of the pub I used to always go through? The 136 bar. Obvious. I used to go there all the time. The girls would come up, yeah, hello, how are you? Like some company, you want to talk? Yeah, if you come up and you want to talk, but they don't push. If you want to come and sit next to me and talk to me, of course I'm going to buy you a drink. But when you're in Thailand, and I think that's the hardest thing there is, they basically tell you, oh, you buy me a drink. Well, I don't have to. I come in here just to have a couple of drinks by myself. If you want to sit next to me, that doesn't automatically say you can get a drink off me. I'll offer you a drink, but that's me offering you. But if you think you're going to demand a drink off me and 50 of your other friends, I'll finish this one and I'll go. And I've done that before a few times. And I just think, yeah, I agree with you there, Mark. They can really bust your balls. I think when it's really busy, it's not too bad, because the girls are just busy just trying to concentrate on who they're actually with, and they lose track of you, and you can sit there and just sit back and enjoy. That's where I prefer to, more than usual, find the regular bar, get to know them. Yep, here's a couple of drinks. Now leave me alone. I just want to sit here, have a few drinks, and watch the tourists. I love watching all that stuff. And they're not breaking me balls on it. And you can just sit there and enjoy. And there've been many a times where you just sit there and enjoy a drink. The girls will come up, yakety yak yak, and just go from there. And you can enjoy yourself. If you want to flirt with them, you can. Well, I can't, because I don't flirt as such, because I get into trouble, because I know my missus wouldn't be far away from watching me, because we usually go out together. I said, yeah, I tell her where I'm going to sit, where I'll be, so she knows exactly where I'll be, and I don't move from there, because I know she can see me, so nothing untowards can happen. And with that, the Thai bar girls, yeah, I understand the no morals type. I do sort of get a point where they're coming from, but some are just how we used to term it, used to come in as fresh meat and be very, very tough buffaloes when they get used to it. And I've known quite a few hard ones. They just worked it and worked it. They weren't ashamed of where they are. And I can't agree with you more there, Marcus. And just sit there and watch. And the girls just go out so hardened that that's all they do. They get into the drink. Was it mate went out with one of the girls in Koh Samui. He said, "Yeah, I got a call from her one day, and out of the blue, you hadn't spoken to her for a little while. Oh, can you send some money?" And he knew she was sick the last time he saw her. And with that, it came out she had bad liver problems because she spent so much time in the bar drinking. She was a real party hard. I mean, really party hard girl. And she would start from early in the afternoon right through to closing until she went with whoever. And he basically said, one day it's going to catch up with you. I think he said to me a couple of years later, he said, yeah, she did call me and explain to us, it's taken a couple of years, but he knew back then she wasn't very well. She kept doing what she shouldn't have been doing because the doctor told her to stop drinking, but she kept on doing it. And the last I heard, I think she did pass away because she couldn't get a new, well, the liver had basically just carked it. So, yeah, and many places. I even go to some of the restaurants there further down there where I stay around the Bassac Lane area. There's some good restaurants there where you sit there. It's not in your face. Bassac Lane's pretty good. They're only really little boutique-y type places. I like that area because the hotel I stay at is just up the other end of that street. And I just sit there and have a yak to people, watch them go by. Some of the other establishments, I think there's a couple there opposite the Watts there. You can get up to the little Sky Bar. A couple of the funny stuff you get to. I stopped going to a lot of them because they got too many people in there, and you could just sort of just look down when they're partying, drinking, good music, and just watch the world go by. Up in Siem Reap, the Red Bar, I used to love sitting there and just watch the people go by and just drink the night away. It was really good. Probably paid for the beers there, but when the crowds are going through, you just watch them all go past, and it was really good. And you just sit back and enjoy. You know? Like I've always had the family with me, so it's never going to be a cheap night regardless of whichever way I look at it, but it is what it is. So I look at it. I will still visit. There's still lots to see and do in Thailand, but partner wants to go and see a few things. I want to go back to Phuket and do some more scuba diving over there. She wants to go over there and have a look around as well. I want to catch up with a few friends over there. I think by the time we do get let out of this place down here, we will see where we all end up, and I'll start the transition to stay wherever I'm going. And yeah, that'll be the time. I don't know when, until we can get out of this place, until these politicians can make up some agreement between everybody on a way to get it all. But I got no idea on how it's all going to pan out. It's just too ridiculous at the moment. But forward thinking on there, I do have my little thoughts and plans and goals I'm trying to aim for. Here, time will tell how long I stay here for. The earliest I reckon I'll get away from here is next year. That'll be just for a reconnaissance trip, and then from there, how things pan out from there and go from there, I reckon within 6 months of that trip, that'll be the end of me here. So then I'll be able to sit back and travel around quite easily in a nice warm weather, watch the lovely rain come down, and wash away all the dust and everything. For you, Mark, I think you got a lot more fun coming towards your way. Yeah, I don't want to say anything because it's not for me to say anything. It's your big deal. Dare I say, Daddy? Yeah, I reckon you're looking forward to it. I bet you all the rooms all decorated out, ready to go. Yeah, one of the more exciting. I reckon you'd be absolutely stressed out, something chronic at the moment, waiting, not knowing what's going to happen. I just hope Canal is doing really well with it and everything's going really well with her. And I hope it goes as best as it can for you and nothing untowards. So we'll wait for that particular announcement to come up. Yeah. So then the fun will start. But I'll be actually looking. I haven't found out that place you said where the Kermies are. You said it was somewhere in your Lambie. I'll have to check that out and go see what they are because I'm interested at that. I haven't found it many other places, but then trying to find a lot of things at the moment, we're all just running on the basics. I did try to look for a few little places here and there, gone empty. I wanted to try and introduce a few other people to Kermie, but at the moment, from a restaurant in Phnom Penh, there, a tin-out restaurant, 154 Street. I'll push it again. Really great restaurant on the corner of Street 51. Always done. Always looked after me. Great meal there, and I'll always go there. If I'm there for a week, always go there at least 3 times. I'll always get 3 meals out of them and always give them a good tip out of it. Hush secret location, eh? Okay. I haven't been able to get over to even have a look through down in Abbott Way, or even down in Oxford Way. They should have something there. I haven't got a clue at the moment. Surely there would be something there somewhere along the line because there's so many Asian groceries there. Oh, we've frozen, have we? Terrific. Just what we want. Nah, froze up. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know where we're up to. Yeah, so when I get a chance to have a day off, I've got plenty of time up my sleeve and we can actually move out and around a bit more. I will try and inspect it a bit and see what I can find. I dare say there has to be something somewhere. If not, Footscray Market should have something there. If not, I'll have to get down to Springvale or Chingvale down there and ask a few people down there that I know. Because I haven't been anywhere near any of those places for ages. It's just been, well, to give you an idea, my day started at 2:30 this morning. What's the time? I think I've gone overboard. Yeah, it's 9:42 now. Just realised what the time was. Probably going on. Yeah. So I'm on the right track there, eh? I could probably track that one down. Yeah. Well, that's a pretty big Khmer area down there. Did come across quite a few people there, and that's where you got the Cambodian Association down there. And he put me on to I can't think of the guy's name or fam, but he put me on to quite a few people down there to do things. But yeah. But anyway, time will tell when that sort of happens. When we're able to actually get out. Poor motorbike sitting there doing next to nothing. Car only gets used on weekends to my other job, and basically I use the electric buzz box to go to my weekly job. So what do you do until we can get out and go a bit more? I can't even get out and go do visiting friends because they're all outside my little area. So it's only doing the local stuff around here other than going to and from work. So that's the hardest part. But yeah, if you get that Kermie, I'll look forward to Canal Secret Herbs and Spices. I remember the last time I had it, I enjoyed it because I knew I wasn't going to have it for quite a fair while. I have had, I think the worst one I had was up in Siem Reap, and it was one of those flashy restauranties out on the main street, but behind Pub Street, and that was terrible shit. So it's got to be done right, and if it's done right, like I always get at my other place, I'll be happy with it. Yeah, if we can get some of that stuff going. Yeah, I was trying to find a few others, but through my connections through the importing area, I can't find any of the stuff that I've been looking for. They're just not importing anything at the moment. It's so hard to come by. Not this particular one, but I think you're sort of knowing. I was trying to get the flavour of the month going so we could have a real Khmer do, one for a better thing. But it's just, I've searched and searched. I'm trying to chase up one place around Brunswick, but I haven't had a chance to stop, get his phone number and give the guy a ring, because it's only on a van. I don't see this particular van very often, and every time I remember, I can't stop. Oh, I got to stop there, but I can't stop. I have to keep moving. But he is he advertises that and quite a fair bit of Khmer stuff as well. So I don't know exactly where his thing is, because the writing is probably literally this big on his door. So when you see it, I do see the advertising on the back door, but when you read the side door, you got to stop. Yeah, doing all the funny stuff again. You got to stop and actually get a good picture of it so that I can remember where it all is. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave it here. It's been nearly 2 hours, an hour and 3/4. I think I've outdone myself tonight. Every time I do a chat, I'll just make it a short one. It doesn't seem to last that long. I know there's been a few little hiccups here with this little setup, but it's actually working quite well. I'm using my little travel computer. That's actually still doing okay. And just for your information, Mr. Marcus, I'm not using a webcam. I'm using my camera, one of my cameras. So if you want to do a live stream, we can set that up for you. Not a problem. It's quite easy. And I don't mind this particular one. Go and have a look at this. You can actually do a collab with quite a few people if you want. I was thinking about that, but we'll see how that goes. But for you, I don't think it's going to be for a little while yet, until things settle down in the foreseeable future. Maybe at about a month or so, maybe we'll be able to do something. I don't know. But that I'll leave in your capable hands for sure on that one. And we'll get around to it. It's only taken, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? I don't know. It's been a while. I got no idea when I sort of twigged where you were, and sort of worked it out, and realised how close it really were. So anyway, well, I'm going to call it quits for tonight, because I still got to get up to go to work in the morning, like some of us poor saps have got to do. But it is a sleep in for me tomorrow. I don't have to get out of bed till 5:45 tomorrow, I should say. So it's better than 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30. So anyway, cheers, people, for tuning in. Stay tuned. I'll find some more stuff to chat about. No doubt you obviously realise that good old Maddo here can talk a little bit, whether it's enjoyable or not, but I hope it's a bit of useful information. Some people would say I'm just full of the proverbial poo. But anyway, don't forget, give us a big thumbs up, get this little up and going. I'm trying to build this little channel up a bit, but I'm finding it very hard to do a travel channel when you can't travel anywhere. Tried a few other little things here and there, but we keep going into lockdown. But anyway, in the description down below, I did leave other vloggers that are doing things in Cambodia and people are doing about Cambodia. And go check them out if you're interested in seeing what goes on there. And thanks for watching. Till the next one, Catchya.